Got a bit of a treat this morning, just getting my Indian Chief serviced, and Mark's going to let me take this Continental GT out for a bit of a test ride. As you know, I'm a big fan of the Royal Enfields, and especially this 650cc parallel twin engine. So yeah, let's get on the bike and go for a bit of a spin and see how this riding position suits me. The thing is, with this bike, it's got these Verex mufflers on it, fitted, aftermarket mufflers. They're made right here in Australia and Tasmania, and I did hear it start up before and it sounded pretty good. Alright, let's go for a spin and see what she's like. Okay, so I've just got off the freeway with my little ride on the Royal Enfield Continental GT, and yeah, it's a sweet little bike to ride. Coming off the Indian Chief, there's a huge set of differences in ergonomics, and just everything's just so different. In particular is the amount of torque. When I initially twisted the throttle on the Continental GT, I was twisting, but nothing seemed to be happening. Whereas on my Chief, she'd just launch and just go, or just briskly pick up and go. I sort of had to really twist the throttle and coax it out of this bike. But that's to be expected. We're talking about 650cc's versus 1890cc's. And in reality, there is just no comparison. We're comparing oranges to apples, so I'm not going to mention the Chief from here on in, because that's just a silly comparison. And also price-wise, this is basically a third of the price of the Indian Chief. So you would expect that the Indian Chief would be a more impressive bike for that sort of price difference. Having said that, this bike is still an impressive bike. And one of the things that first impressed me was this seat. It's a very, very comfortable seat. Now, I'm not sure if that's the stock seat. Now this is, I will tell you, this is a traded-in bike that Indian Motorcycle in Ballarat have available for sale, and hence that's why it's got the aftermarket pipes on it. So this seat could be an aftermarket seat, but I've got to say I was impressed with that. Very, very comfortable. Now, I have ridden the Royal Enfield Interceptor, and I've made a video on the Interceptor, and the riding position on the two bikes is similar but very different. In particular, you have these sort of more clip-on style handlebars, even though they do rise up a bit. The riding position is the same but different in that the clip-on handlebars have you leaned forward a lot more, and for me, after riding both bikes, I prefer this riding position over the Interceptor. I thought I'd prefer the Interceptor, but I actually do prefer this riding position, and I think it's because the angle of the bars and the angle of your body as you're leaning onto the bars is really good for highway riding, in that the wind is holding you up, and I find it much more relaxing to ride this bike than I did the Interceptor, because I could just put my weight on the handlebars, and the air pressure on my chest would just hold my upper body up, and I could just lean into the wind, and it was very, very comfortable. Now, for me personally, the heart of a motorcycle and what gives the bike all its character, or a lot of its character, is the engine. And I love the 116 in my Indian Chief, and I'm a huge fan of this 650cc parallel twin engine. Now, it's not like a Speedmaster, it's not like going to rip your arms out of its sockets, it's not that sort of engine. But what it is a very fun engine to ride, in that you can really twist the throttle, use the revs, and it gives you a lot of feedback and is very rewarding when you do that. Now, I did find on the freeway in sixth gear you're ticking over at about 100 kilometres or 62 miles an hour at 4,000 RPM, and the engine was very smooth and there was no vibrations at all through the bike. The whole bike was very smooth, but once I got up to 5,000 RPM, which was about 120 kilometres an hour, when I was passing a vehicle, you can really feel the vibrations start to come into the foot pegs. For freeway highway use, I found it very smooth, and all the riding you're going to be doing is at legal speeds. You're going to be finding this to be a very smooth and comfortable bike to ride. So yeah, I would say that this is a comfortable bike to ride. I would have expected it not to be, with the more clip-on lower handlebars, but no, it is definitely a comfortable bike to ride. The other thing that I noticed was the grips. They're very narrow compared to the Chiefs. I like having larger hands, I like bigger, wider grips. So if I was to get this bike or something like this, I would definitely put grip puppies or something on just to fatten up the grips a bit. If you've got smaller hands, you'll probably like it as it is. And these mufflers are loud. They're not a quiet muffler by any stretch of the imagination. I would definitely wear earplugs if I had this bike. Having said that, earplugs is all you'd need to make this bike, comfortable enough to ride on the freeway for extended periods of time. Suspension-wise, the fact that I didn't notice the suspension or bumps or anything like that tells me that that's a really, really well set up bike, to be honest. I didn't even think about it once. So if it was going to be an issue, I would have noticed it. So yeah, big thumbs up for the suspension. Very happy with that. Now, as for brakes, they were adequate. They're not big stomping brakes that are going to pull you up in a hurry, but they are certainly up to the task and adequate for this size of bike. The other thing too is I found that gear lever is very short, and I really had to tuck my toe in to get to it. So I'd like that to be a little bit longer for me personally. The rear brake lever, I found was a little bit soft and spongy, so I'd probably look at perhaps maybe even just an adjustment might be just a bit too low for my foot. I had to really sort of push my toe down to get onto it. An adjustment might be all that's required there. Styling wise, I think Royal Enfield nail styling across the range. Actually, all their bikes are really nicely designed and styled, and I do like the cutout on the tank that we have here. And I didn't really notice that my knee was touching anything, so I think I was clear of that cutout. What I will do is I will sit on the bike and let you see what I look like proportions wise. Now, as you can see, I'm 6'1" and very, very comfortable on this bike. It's nice and roomy. Definitely doable for my size. Fits me like a glove, actually. It's really good. And that cutout in the tank, my knee's clear of that, which is great. Nice touches like this fuel cap here. Not lockable, but I really like the design of it. Now, the mirrors on this bike have been modified by the previous owner. He's bent them down lower for some reason. I think it was a visibility issue he was having. So I had to adjust those to make them more comfortable for me. Now, the other thing this Continental GT has is spoke wheels, which means they're not going to be tubeless tyres. Just something to consider. Some of the models in the Interceptor range have alloy wheels, which could be something, if you're looking for something with tubeless tyres, that could be the go. Right there is the oil cooler, which is keeping engine temperatures under control. Okay, so that was my little test ride of the Royal Enfield Continental GT. Overall, very impressed. Every Royal Enfield I test ride I'm impressed with. I think they're excellent motorcycles, excellent value for money, and just a really nicely designed bike that performs well. They're not speed machines, but they perform well enough, and they have a lot of character when you're riding them, which is awesome. Now, who's this bike for? Well, this bike is for learners. It's a learner bike here in Australia, and also I reckon for returning riders. I think it's a great option for returning riders, someone getting back into motorcycling who hasn't been on a bike for a few years. I think it's a great option as well. And I think it's also suitable for someone who would like to have a few bikes in their garage. Just it'd be a nice option to have sitting there to go for a bit of a spin on every now and again. I think it'd be quite a good little bike. Having said that, I think I could do some kilometres on this bike, like some miles. It's comfortable enough for me to do, I reckon 2 or 3 hours in the saddle would be quite fine for me, especially having that forward leaning riding position where your upper body's leaning into the wind and it's just taking all the pressure off you. I think that would work well for me. Now I would like to say a big thank you to Mark from Indian Motorcycle in Ballarat for letting me take the Royal Enfield Continental GT for a test ride. As I said, this is a bike that's for sale. It's just been traded in, and there is another one that they have, one that's been traded with about 500 kilometres on it, which has got the chrome tank option, and they also have new Continental GTs on the floor as well. So thanks again to Mark at Indian Motorcycle in Ballarat for letting me test ride the bikes. They've always been a great supporter of my channel, so I really appreciate that. Also, while I'm on that, if you are in the Ballarat area and you call in to see Indian Motorcycle in Ballarat and let them know you watch my channel, they'll give you a Bikes I Like sticker. I've got a few put under the counter there for people who call in and say g'day. So if you want a Bikes I Like sticker, that's the best way of getting one. Call into Indian Motorcycle in Ballarat, let them know you watch the Bikes I Like channel, and they'll give you a sticker. Alright, there it is, the Royal Enfield Continental GT. I finally got a test ride. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye for now.